So I decided to go on a bit of a rant here, because there's only so much of anything that you can feel, hear, see, or experience before you get that need to, get it off your chest. And I just reached that point because people all over Europe and the US have this sort of it's not necessarily a victim mentality complex, but it's the save me, I'm a damsel in distress complex, and they mostly aim this towards politicians, mostly their favorite kosher politicians that were supposed to bring prosperity into the land, and they just never deliver. And so I will try to be sort of subtle about this, although I'm not sure if it will help anything. But I will try to be very aware of what I'm or how I'm saying things, so the tribes people will not get it taken down from YouTube. But there's this sort of notion that there's still people are still playing or acting like there are two sides to this, when it's really only one side, and they're cooperating to get you to their preferred spot where they want you to have. And people are somehow still acting that like there are actual politicians, figures in our politics, modern day politics, that will deliver on all those promises, and that they would be actually allowed to do whatever they're promising in their pre-election campaigns and stuff. And there are still a lot of people that actually believe that things are not fake or rigged, or however you want to call it. I will try to not really. Oh wait, there's these keys in here and they're just making noise all the time. Will this be better? Yeah, sort of. So there's this. It's really easy when you notice it. Maybe it can be hard to notice, but once you notice it, it's really easy to see how this actually the whole rigged system works. So you have let's say you have two politicians, right? Politician A and politician B, and so politician A, most of the time, doesn't have to be, but most of the time is a well-established public figure, whether he or she has been in politics or for a few years, or for quite some time actually, or maybe they were in sort of reality TV shows, or are well known publicly from the screens and TV. Doesn't really matter. Most of the time, politician A is an established character that people know. A lot of the time, he's actually been in the politics, and actually that person was actually in a very, very important spot in politics most of the time. And it's sort of a prime minister or anything like that. Something maybe like Macron in France. He's been there forever at this point. I know it's not like super duper long that he's been there, but it's quite a few years already. So yeah, you have the politician A, that's sort of a well-established politician. Most of the time he's already ruled, quote unquote, because he does not really rule anything. He's just doing what he's told. But yeah, most of the time he's already been in whether it's president or prime minister, in a very important position. And then you have politician B, which is just the marauder, the destroyer, the menace. He just comes and he just destroys everything. Politician A is the more slow and steady decline type of guy, more subtle, more sort of like things are getting worse and worse every year. but they're subtle enough for people not to really notice. And they're subtle enough so then he can blame it on someone else if someone actually notices something. So you have politician A who is in charge, or sort of in charge, but for this example he's gonna be in charge. And he is doing a bad job because he's supposed to do a bad job, and he is slowly destroying your country. And then you have people get fed up with him, rightfully so, because he's been very incompetent, although it's planned incompetence, but he's been very incompetent. And so people will get fed up with him eventually. And then there is the need to change the guards, So then politician B with all his promises comes, and he just does a really bad job. He just destroys everything. The last remaining things that were sort of working are gone. He just takes everything and he will destroy it. By the way, sorry for the shaky camera. I worked out and my shoulders are pretty much destroyed at this point. So trying to keep it steady. It's also quite windy, so yeah, but whatever. So he destroys everything, and then it's just mask off sort of moment. So he will just completely declare war on population of his country, and it's just so bad that when the next election comes, they don't even need to do anything with the election. The moment politician A decides to run again, he's already elected, because people will have such a shitty experience with the reign of terror that they just experienced, right? The politician B's reign of terror, that they will gladly re-elect the slow and steady decline, kind of guy, the politician A. And of course, he will everything that he then does wrong, everything that he then destroys, or everything that he does wrong during his second reign, or in some cases third or fourth, but after the reign after the politician B, everything that he eventually do that will contribute to the destruction of the country will be blamed on the reign of terror of politician B. It's always like that. It's always like that. You have a party, then they are bad. Then you have another party elected, they are even worse. Then you have the first party re-elected, and they're not so bad anymore, because compared to the party previously, they're pretty good, even though they're not good at all. So people are willing to accept the guy that destroyed everything in the first place as a good alternative. They're played absolutely, and they're playing them like a fiddle, and it's sort of hilarious, but it's also very sad to look at. Because people are the recency bias is so strong with them, and there's every time you try to explain this to someone, they'll be ultra defensive about it, because they just don't want to admit that their favorite politician would be the bad guy. Firstly, it's because of the ego, right? People have enormous egos, and in terms of politics, it's something unheard of. It's really bad. Everyone thinks their opinion is the correct one, without doing any kind of research, without doing anything. They think that they're right, their opinion is the correct one. And once you point out all the flaws of the politician that they chose, that they worship, then they might start to call you names, or start to be hyper defensive about it, and anything of the sort, because ego is the first thing, but the second one is that they're terrified to actually look at the facts presented and concede or agree with the notion that they're all part of the same team. It's a terrifying experience, when you first, once you realize that all the politicians are on the same team and they just don't have your best interest at heart, none of them does, and it's all just a charade, it's all just just one big, theater play, screenplay, whatever. It's a terrible experience. It's a terrible feeling. It's such a feeling of hopelessness. Like so there's no way, we cannot vote our way out of this, and it's because that would I don't want to say the word, but that would sort of imply that there's a bigger plan at hand, and that bigger plan only has one goal, and that's to destroy you personally, and me, and all of us. But yeah. But to get back to the point, the politician A, politician B, good party, bad party, it's the classic good cop, bad cop manipulation tactic that the manipulators use. It's really a tale as old as time, and people are still, not as much as they used to, but a large percentage of European and American population are still eating this up, are still gobbling it up, because they refuse to acknowledge that the reality is far more menacing and brutal and uncomfortable than they're willing to admit. So then these politicians, you can see it with Trump, for example. Their sort of code of personality will begin to rise, around them, begins to form around them. Well, these MAGA people are just defending Trump no matter what. He could take a shit on the desk in the Oval Office, right? He could take a shit right on that desk, and he could videotape himself from multiple sides doing it, and there will be still a lot of people that would just somehow pardon it, They would excuse it, because what the Dems would do would be much worse. So, I don't mind having my president taking a shit on a desk in the Oval Office and then putting it on the internet. No, I don't mind that, because what Biden would do would be much worse. And this is exactly this sort of us versus them. That's the divide, and it's working really well, because that's the basic part of human psyche. Our team, their team. And whatever you do, our team or their team, don't really base who are our people on, race or religion, as it was for centuries. Don't really do that, but base it on who likes which puppet more. And that's where we're at right now. That's what's happening right now, and it's really exhausting. I try to wake people up about this. It's also sort of the reason I created this, or started, talking to the camera, which I'm not really used to, actually. But I just cannot look at this anymore, because it's obvious when someone is being played, and you can see it. It's like your friend has an abusive partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever your friend is, has an abusive partner, and you can see how they're abusing them, and you just want to do something about it, but your friend is just absolutely delusional. My dog is eating something from the grass. Hey, stop it. Go. We're going. Yeah. So so yeah. That's why I decided to, maybe talk about it a little bit. We'll see how long the tribesmen will let this be on YouTube. I have no idea about that. But yeah, another thing is that how can you know? Oh yeah, the wind is now picking up. I guess the rain is coming. How can you know that they are actually, together? That they are cooperating, both parties. That they're uniparty. Just like Orwell said, just like Orwell wrote, they are the uniparty. I have to wait until this wind. I can maybe take cover in the tree line up there. Yeah. Hopefully it will not be too bad. Hopefully. Yeah, so how can you tell? Well, on every single issue, right? On every single issue that actually matters, such as maybe racial issues, you know, certain economic issues, on every single issue that actually matters, these both of these parties would be in agreement. They have the same goal, just different kind of roadmap to get there. They have the same strategy to get you somewhere where someone paid them, someone made them, someone blackmailed them to get you, right? And that's why every single issue, on every single issue that they actually disagree with, it's just a theater. It's nothing more. It's nothing more. It's because none of those, or most of the issues that they actually disagree on, well, there are not even issues, right? Or even if there are issues, they're pretty minor, and are blown way out of proportions. I have to wait for the wind. Yeah, so I was able to hide from wind a little bit. So yeah, on every single issue that they actually disagree on are whether it's not an issue, it's non-issue. That's the first option, and the other option is that it's actually blown way out of proportions. Right? Every single real issue, they are in unison on those. You would never see any party in Europe in actuality criticize a certain land across the sea, a very small land. You would never see anything like that. I mean, they wouldn't dare to bite the hand that feeds them, right? So you would never see anything like that. Why? Why? You know, that's of course the question for people that are still pretending like there's two sides to this. There's only us, the people, that's the real side, and this is more, and then you know, I don't mean to sound like a commie, you know. Oh, this is a class struggle, but this is a very deep-rooted struggle. It's really complex, and you would have to actually learn something about. You would have to go pretty deep into history to really understand this. So this is not really something that I would be able to explain in just 15-20 minute rant on YouTube, especially when I'm trying not to really name names, you know. But yeah, this is the point that we've got to, and after these politicians will sort of exhaust their support, right? After people will no longer be willing to support them, as is happening a little bit with Trump, I think. Some people actually finally sobered up a little bit, but most of them still haven't. But yeah, then what's next, right? Well, then you have the controlled opposition ready to take over. So then your Trumps, your AFDs will come into play and pretend like there's something else, but they're really the same thing. But there's also one thing that I would like to mention in this video before I wrap this up, because this is long enough as it is, and the wind is it's not going to be possible for me to talk to you in the open field with this wind. So I'm gonna go back here. Don't forget the legitimation process, or legitimizing, right? Legitimizing process, or however you want to call it, of the new party that will actually take over. You know, that's the process that is meant for it is meant for normies. It is meant for normies to really make them believe that the new party or the old party is actually the real opposition. So we have sort of things like events like maybe the Trump shooting, right? You know, people immediately thought that it was the Democrats, you know, or something like that. It's ridiculous. It wasn't the Democrats. Or I don't know if you actually remember, but there was this big thing not that long ago, with shooting of the Slovakian prime minister. You have these kinds of events, you know, like shooting attempts, just call it shooting attempts, right? And then maybe just you know, impeachment attempts or jailing, you know, all these kinds of things, right? But none of them are for real. Let's take an example, or a hypothetical example. If they try to jail someone, you know, someone who is dubbed the real opposition, well, how can you know that he is the real opposition? Well, if he's the real opposition, he actually would be jailed, and it wouldn't really be medialized, and he would be jailed for a long time if someone would be the real opposition. If you have just someone who they try to legitimize, for you to buy in that he is actually the savior, another one, a new one, well, then it would be medialized all over the place. It would be everywhere, and he would never actually go into jail. Or if he actually went into jail, he would go just for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months tops, something like that. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. So then you have all these events, you know, where they just try to make you believe that the guy elected is actually the one. And in Slovakia it was the same thing with the shooting of the prime minister. From everything I've read about it, people were actually blaming the liberals, right? In America with the Trump shooting, people were blaming the Democrats. No one would actually dare to say that it might have been all planned, right? No one would dare to say that. And so when they go through this legitimization process, right? When they go through this process, then they have this sort of more leeway in people's minds. People give them more leeway to do whatever they want because, well, they were almost killed, so you know, let him cook a little bit, right? And it's you know, they just buy some time essentially to destroy things. And here we go with the wind again. They will buy some time eventually to destroy things and you know, have a bit of a head start. Go up this every time I do the same mistake. Like, yeah, he was just almost killed, so he must be our guy, right? So well, okay, what he's doing is very strange, but he was almost killed, so we'll just wait and see while he just absolutely destroys you, you know. So yeah, so I don't think there really is a certain point that I would like to make, or a specific point. I think I just wanted to rant a little bit because this is exactly how it works, and people are just willing to take the bait again and again and again, and it's really exhausting. So yeah, I'll think of anything else on my way home, and the wind would be tolerable, then I might just fire up the camera once more and say a few words. But yeah, so far this is it. So hopefully see you in the next video, and let's see how long this will stay up.